we've got an opinion commentary piece from the Wall Street Journal. Now, keep in mind, the Wall Street Journal has a readership of people that consume the Wall Street Journal across all political lines, okay? And the Wall Street Journal in this article is calling, or at least saying out loud, that maybe Caitlin Clark's civil rights are actually being violated.
Everyone is buzzing about the shocking revelation made by the Wall Street Journal. According to their claims, the WNBA may be in fact infringing on Caitlin Clark's civil rights, and the resulting legal ramifications could end the league as we know it. This has evolved beyond basketball. We are discussing congressional hearings, federal investigations, and even lawsuits that have the power to completely alter the situation. Do you believe Caitlin Clark works in a hostile atmosphere because of the WNBA? An opinion piece that essentially stated what we have all been thinking for months was just published by the Wall Street Journal, that small journal that only the most serious business people read. It's possible that Caitlin Clark's treatment in the WNBA is unlawful. Not only lacking in sportsmanship, however, it is not only unjust but also in violation of federal civil rights legislation. Sean McLean wrote the piece, and this man didn't mince words. He is essentially accusing Clark of working in a hostile atmosphere at the WNBA and accusing the league's leadership of ignoring systematic targeting that may amount to civil rights violations. Things have become serious when the Wall Street Journal begins discussing your sports league as if it were a potential discrimination case.
Everybody's bragging about this 5-game winning streak. It is great. But Caitlin Clark doesn't get to play under these circumstances, where these girls are just going out there and playing basketball. That doesn't get to happen for her.
Let's examine what they're genuinely saying in this instance. For one thing, this isn't just a fan blog whining about rough play. This important article makes the case for government authorities becoming involved. They are discussing Congress, the Department of Justice, and even antitrust infractions. That type of wording causes sports commissioners to get quite uncomfortable.
The Wall Street Journal in this article is calling, or at least saying out loud, that maybe Caitlin Clark's civil rights are actually being violated. Is her right to a peaceful workplace, a non-hostile work environment, are those rights being violated by the WNBA?
We've all noticed what the piece highlights, but no one wanted to express it aloud. Like Michael Jordan did for the NBA, Clark has essentially done the same for the WNBA. Sales of products are up 601%, app interaction is up 613%, and viewership is at 366%. These bumps aren't little. These are game-changing figures that have literally prevented the league from going extinct. However, the WNBA has been treating Clark as though she were a problem that needed to be resolved rather than defending their golden goose.
Hey. And at the very least, there's a portion of this that says maybe WNBA leadership should at least have to go sit in front of some people and answer some very uncomfortable questions. Lord knows I would love to see that. Because Kathy Engelbert and Adam Silver, it seems to be nothing to see here. Please move along. Now, I've seen a lot of fans just come out and say, hey, they're assaulting her, it's battery, yada, yada, yada.
It's like whining that the lottery winner in your family is receiving too much attention. Unless there is something else going on, the reasoning simply doesn't make sense.
It talks about the fact that Caitlin Clark has basically done for the WNBA what Michael Jordan did for the NBA, right? Instead of protecting its transformative star, the league's leadership ignores the relentless targeting of Miss Clark, treating its greatest asset.
This is where things become interesting from a legal standpoint. According to the article, Clark has received twice as many flagrant fouls as her peers, 17% of all flagrant fouls in the league. That isn't only a case of bad luck or happenstance. Any civil rights attorney would be thrilled to see that statistical trend. Discrimination cases get more serious when you can demonstrate desperate treatment with real data.
I also blow up on the internet because I fought someone. So
just so sick.
Honestly, it is funny. It is funny because
but for good reason.
Yeah. Well,
wasn't she?
Yeah, let me just tell people the story real quick because I
Hey,
don't
let's
think I've
go.
gotten to really tell my point of view of things.
Yeah.
Is like, you have seen players in our league try to like toughen up Caitlin or Cece. Even when I wasn't on her team, like I know the talks that Phoenix had in the locker room of like, no, we're gonna prove her, we're gonna show her what the W really is. You know what I mean? And like, I get it to a certain extent, and like every rookie comes to the league, that's how you're gonna treat them. But
Right.
there's just more for her. So it's her second year, and like now being on her team and like seeing it, I'm like, what are people doing? Like, actually, it's just too much, and
Yeah.
like it's just, I'm over. And if I'm saying it's too much, then it's probably too much.
No. Phoenix player Sophie Cunningham has stated publicly that the league's star player is not being protected. That isn't just a fan's opinion. A professional athlete who competes against Clark is criticizing the league for not protecting her. You can tell everything you need to know when your rivals claim that you are being treated unfairly. According to Clark, everyone is physical with me. They are able to get away with things that others cannot. This is a rather reasonable way of expressing that the officiating has done a terrible job of protecting her. She isn't seeking preferential treatment or yelling about conspiracies. She is merely drawing attention to the blatant double standard. The wounds are what complete the matter even more grave from a legal perspective. Due to injury, Clark has missed 10 games in addition to the All-Star game. Additionally, the All-Star ratings fell by 55% when she wasn't playing. It goes beyond simple connection. That demonstrates her worth to the league. It begins to appear like negligence when your injuries are the consequence of plays that would not be accepted against other players and your absence costs the league that much money. A whole new set of legal issues is raised by Asia Wilson's remarks that race plays a significant role in Clark's treatment. It is not necessary to demonstrate overt discriminatory intent in order to establish a violation under civil rights law. Should there be a trend of federal examination may be triggered by disparate treatment that seems to be driven by race. The Harris versus Forklift Systems case from 1993, which set the legal bar for hostile work situations, is expressly mentioned in the article. According to them, Clark's case fits that description as the behavior is serious, widespread, and has changed her working environment. Sports analysis is not what that is. That is legal analysis based on real court decisions. Then there is the 1981 Texas Department of Community Affairs versus Burdine case, which addressed desperate treatment in accordance with Civil Rights Act Title VII. Essentially, the text lays forth a legal roadmap for Clark to demonstrate discrimination without having to demonstrate deliberate hostility. The onus would be on the WNBA to demonstrate that their treatment was different for non-discriminatory reasons. The Washington Mystics owner, Sheila Johnson, said that Clark wasn't worthy of winning Time's Athlete of the Year on her own. Dick Vitale described it as plain jealousy, but legally speaking, club owners' remarks of that like may be seen as proof of the league's animosity toward Clark. Another piece of evidence that can be pertinent in a discrimination complaint is the Olympic roster scenario. Despite being the most well-liked and accomplished player in women's basketball, Clark was excluded from the squad. That begins to resemble a pattern of exclusion or retaliation when combined with everything else. From a political perspective, here is when things start to get really interesting. Commissioner Kathy Angelberg has already received a letter from Senator Jim Banks requesting information regarding Clark's care. It's typically an indication that more serious issues are about to arise when members of Congress begin to inquire about the operations of your league. Congress should hold hearings and demand answers from the WNBA's leadership, according to the article. Can you see Adam Silver and Kathy Angelbert being forced to sit in front of a congressional committee and provide an explanation for why their top talent is treated like a punching bag? The WNBA definitely doesn't want that kind of publicity, but it would be must-see TV. The Labor Department's review proposal is especially concerning as workplace safety is a government matter. They may face serious legal repercussions in addition to negative PR if they discovered proof that the WNBA was not giving Clark in particular a safe workplace. It would be far worse for the league if the Civil Rights Division of the Justice Department became involved. They have the authority to compel substantive reforms and are the ones who look into systemic discrimination. When federal agents begin examining your company's operations, at which point attorneys begin to bill significant hours. However, the article's reference of the nuclear option raises concerns about broadcasting and antitrust. Professional sports leagues are able to operate as monopolies because of unique legal exemptions. The WNBA's operations might be drastically altered if Congress were to re-evaluate such privileges in light of Clark's treatment. The timing of all of this is especially intriguing since it allows us to observe firsthand how different the therapy is when Clark isn't playing. Without her, the Fever has been winning a lot, and there has been a noticeable drop in the amount of physicality. It resembles observing a carefully monitored experiment in how a lot more contact Clark generally faces. Despite the known pattern of targeting, the report notes that not a single player has received a suspension for egregiously fouling Clark. When constructing discrimination cases, civil rights attorneys specifically search for that type of selective enforcement. Desperate treatment occurs when the same behavior is punished differently depending on the victim. An excellent illustration is the Marina Mabra event that was discussed in the original material. Basketball wasn't played there. A serious injury may have resulted from the blindside strike. That would be assault in any other situation. However, since Clark had it during a WNBA game, it was just viewed as a challenging. Another instance of Clark's near-fatal injury is the play made by DJ Carrington last season. She is a flagrant foul away from suffering a career-ending injury, according to the article. It's not hyperbole, either. The plays have been viewed by us. A few of them have actually posed a threat. The fact that this Wall Street Journal article originates from a general business journal rather than a sports publication with an agenda is what gives it such significance. The subject has progressed beyond the area of sports and into the arena of significant legal and political ramifications when business writers begin discussing civil rights breaches in sports. The viewing figures provide a comprehensive picture of Clark's worth to the league. People are there to watch her perform. They don't play when she doesn't. It's that easy. It doesn't make business sense for a league that has battled for decades with relevance and financial viability to undermine its largest draw, unless there are other considerations at work. The 601% rise in item sales is especially noteworthy since it indicates direct revenue that would not have been generated in the absence of Clark. She is attracting paying consumers in addition to TV watchers. From a financial perspective, that makes the league's inability to safeguard her even more puzzling. According to the app engagement metrics, Clark is drawing more than just casual watchers. She is generating real fans who devote time and effort to keeping up with the league. That's the type of participation for which sponsors shell out top dollar. It is also the cornerstone of sustained financial prosperity. However, the league has been treating Clark as though she is the issue rather than taking advantage of this extraordinary expansion. It's like whining about your lotto numbers coming up because you now have to handle all of that cash. Unless there is another factor at play, the logic just does not compute. It is especially concerning for the WNBA since the paper suggests federal agencies look into the league's internal communications. In discrimination cases, email discovery frequently provides the unmistakable proof of deliberate bias. In the event that league authorities exchange messages about Clark's care in court, those may be disastrous. There is precedent for federal involvement in sports when compared to the administration's actions regarding Title IX enforcement. Everyone's attention was drawn when the authorities warned more than 60 schools about gender discrimination in sports. Given that the WNBA is a professional league, similar action against it would be even more noticeable. League officials are presumably most concerned about the antitrust danger. To function as they do, professional sports leagues rely on their unique legal standing. They would be governed by standard corporate competition laws without those safeguards, which would fundamentally change the way companies function. Given the current political atmosphere, the recommendation that Congress re-evaluate the WNBA's special rights is especially grave. Given how well-liked Clark is and how clear the signs of his desperate treatment are, this may turn into a bipartisan problem that lawmakers would like to address. From a legal perspective, this is all the more compelling because it is happening in real time. When Clark isn't playing, we can actually see the difference in the way games are officiated. Such contemporaneous evidence would be very beneficial in any court case. Moving forward. At this point, the article's conclusion that things might get awkward and highly public for the WNBA sounds like an understatement. We are discussing the league's biggest stars' possible involvement in discrimination lawsuits, congressional hearings, and federal investigations. A controversy like that may have a major negative impact on the WNBA's finances and reputation. The way this essay reframes the entire Clark case from a sports narrative to a legal and civil rights one is quite intriguing. We are now discussing civil rights, job discrimination, and federal law rather than just basketball violations. That's a much bigger and more somber dialogue. The Wall Street Journal's publication of this viewpoint further validates the worries that supporters have been voicing for some months. The topic shifts from sports argument to serious legal study when a reputable business journal begins discussing your treatment as perhaps unlawful. The WNBA should be alarmed because the Wall Street Journal just made this entire scenario into a possible federal prosecution. Legislative hearings, civil rights probes, and antitrust threats are more than just negative press. For the league, they pose existential threats. What do you anticipate happening next? Leave your comments below.